Alright folks, today I'm going to make a what I call a stab-in anchor. Got two of these on my pontoon boat, one for the front, one for the back. It's about 6 foot long. It's just a little thing I stab in the ground when we go to the springs or whatever. It's made out of a guy brake and a piece of all thread that we call DA bolts at work. Double nutted and got cold shrink. And you get to the lake or the springs, stab it in the ground about 6 foot away from the boat, and run a dock line from the top over to the cleat on your boat. Do one on the front and one on the back, and your boat don't go nowhere. Much better than anchors, especially if you're out on a lake where the wakeboard boat guys like to show off their little tricks on their wakeboards. They won't go out in the middle of the lake and do the little tricks. They got to get up next to everybody so everybody can see them do a damn 360 on a wakeboard. So that's the whole reason I made these things, and they work great. But they're also great for the springs too, and no wake zones when you're just in like 3 foot of water drinking beer, chilling in the springs. They work great. I'll show you how I make them. Alright, first things first, I measure my DA bolt. All it is basically a piece of all thread, but we call them DA bolts at work. This one here is 5/8 of an inch, and it's about 20.5 inches long. So I marked the center about 10 1/4. So that's roughly the center. So that's step one. Next thing we do, we take the roller out of one end of this guy brake, and the bolt will go through there. Alright, you can see I double nutted it on each side. There is my center mark, the 10 1/4 inch center mark. So we got the same amount of handle on each side. So now I'm fixing to put some cold shrink on it. Alright, I got one side done. This is the other side. It comes in the package this big, and then you start pulling this string out the end and it collapses down and cold shrinks to the bolt. It's still a little bit loose right now, but once I pull all this cord out, it'll shrink up and be tight on the bolt. You can also get the kind that you heat up with a little butane tank or something, or a little torch, and it'll shrink down on there. Alright, got both sides on, cut the length, and it's finished shrinking down. It's tight on the DA bolt. So there's one end of it built. Now I'll show you how to do the other end. Alright, just going to take a grinder with a cutoff wheel, a little 4.5 inch cutoff wheel, and hack this end off and pencil it to where it's sharp. That's all there is to it. I'll show you the end result. There you go. Nothing to it. Just penciled it, cut off the Y clevis off the end of this side, penciled the rod. It's a fiberglass rod, about 6.5 feet. I've seen them on eBay before. Man, 20 bucks, something like that. It's, I don't know, about 1/2 inch thick, about 6.5 foot long. And then you just put the DA bolt or piece of all thread through the clevis on the other end, put you some cold shrink on it, hack this end off and sharpen it. And I've probably made a dozen or 14, 16 of them, something like that. They're a hit. I made them for all my buddies for their boats, and it really helps when you're out there on the lake and the bigger boats are going by you while you're anchored on a sandbar or something, and they're not being considerate of all the boats that are anchored out, and they're hauling ass by, throwing wake at the anchored boats, not caring. Well, everybody's anchors will start pulling out of the sand, and their boats will start drifting, and they got to reset their anchors. Where when you got these, you stab it in, and I always stab it down into the soft lake bottom or spring bottom to where the T-handle's down below the water. And then I got a couple little floats that I tie to the handle. That way when people's walking around in the springs or whatever, they don't accidentally rack their nuts on on my T-handle. So just tie a little rope here and come up to where you got a little floating on the surface, and your boat ain't going nowhere. The damn wakeboard guys can do all the damn 360s they want by your boat, and your boat ain't gonna go nowhere. So, alright, well, thank y'all for watching.